And we are back in the building, back with some more boxing. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and all that good stuff. Now, guys, we're talking about the newly crowned 147-pound undisputed champion in Terence Crawford. We're going to talk about what certain sanctioning bodies want for him next, what he wants for himself next, and what's probably going to happen next to the #1 fighter on the planet. Now, let's talk about what's probably going to happen next. Now, it has been revealed that the rematch, he had a rematch clause with Errol Spence Jr. The rematch will probably take place early next year in February. Now, we were thinking that the fight was going to happen in December. Myself, I didn't think that was enough time for Errol Spence Jr. to prepare himself for a fighter on the level of Terence Crawford. There's levels to the game, and it showed in that fight. Terence Crawford completely dominating Errol Spence Jr. And stopping him in the, the 9th round? I think it was the 9th round, guys. So I think he needs more time. Now, February, I still think that's too soon. I would prefer them push this fight out a little bit, give Errol enough time to make the necessary adjustments, plug up the holes in his game, because Terence Crawford, in my opinion, is light years ahead of Errol Spence Jr. Even though I love Errol Spence Jr. as a fighter, I just think he's not on the same level as Terence Crawford. And it definitely showed that night. And, leading up to the fight, I knew that Terence Crawford had Errol's number. Just looking at his body of work and what he's been able to do, that's why I called it for Terence Crawford, even though I'm a huge fan of Errol Spence Jr. I just saw it, guys. I just saw it. I'm a realist. I look at it. I look at the skill set. I look at what they've done in the ring, and I pretty much make an educated guess on it. And that's what I did with that fight. But anyway, that's what's going to happen next, probably. Errol Spence Jr. Now, they haven't picked the weight for the fight yet. We know Errol wants that fight at 154. I think Terence Crawford is probably going to use that as a bargaining tool to generate more revenue for himself, which you can't blame him. It is prize fighting, and he wants to maximize his dollars in the rematch between him and Errol Spence Jr. So, he's probably going to play a little, politics, and so expect that. It's part of negotiations. Now, we know what Terence Crawford actually wants next. He wants Canelo Alvarez next. He wants to become undisputed in a 3rd weight class. And the quickest way to do that is to fight the guy with all the titles right now. And that's Canelo Alvarez. He has all the belts at 168. And he wants to go up there, jump up 3 weight classes, dare to be great, and knock off Canelo Alvarez. Now, we know Canelo Alvarez is not entertaining this at the moment. He says that, it's not something that's in the plans. He's saying that he wouldn't get credit for it. But I talked about, I beg to differ. I think Terence Crawford being seen as the #1 fighter on the planet, if he did go into an undisputed matchup with Canelo Alvarez, I think if Canelo Alvarez was able to win that fight, then that would put him in the spot of the #1 fighter on the planet. And I'm not talking about financially. I'm talking about what people see as the #1 fighter on the planet. Put the, the cash cow stuff to the side. I'm talking about fighting, the #1 fighter on the planet. If he is able to defeat the man, Terence Crawford, then he becomes the man. So, I think this fight should take place, but I don't think it's going to happen right now unless Canelo Alvarez has a change of heart, but we're not seeing that at the moment. Now, let's talk about the sanctioning body, the WBO. They had their convention, I think, a few days ago. Shout out to Nestor Gibbs, because he talked about this on the Boxing Voice, that the WBO had their convention, I think it was in the Dominican Republic. And what they want for Terence Crawford, they want Terence Crawford to face off against the winner of tomorrow night's showdown between Tim Tszyu, who is the newly crowned WBO champion, and Brian Mendoza. Now, we know Tim Tszyu got elevated to the WBO champion after Jermell Charlo was stripped of the title due to him not facing his mandatory. You guys know he got that Canelo fight. He opted to go up to 168, dare to be great, taking a big money fight, taking a big risk, something that we would all do if we had the opportunity. And so once he stepped foot in that ring, he was stripped of the title. And like I said, Tim Tszyu is the holder of that belt. So the WBO wants Terence Crawford to do that, fight the winner of that fight. And I think that's probably, what's probably going to happen after his rematch fight. I think he will face one of those guys. I know it's not in his plans, but he's got to have a plan B. If Canelo's not going to fight, the only option is to become undisputed at 154, where, instead of, just facing Jermell now, he's probably going to have to face two guys. So, whoever wins that fight, he can get that fight with whoever wins, like I said, become the WBO champion, then go into a undisputed matchup with Jermell Charlo. I think that's the ideal thing to do since Canelo Alvarez is not taking the bait. Now, as far as Jermell goes, we know Jermell's going back down, of course. And I think the IBF has ordered him to defend his title against his mandatory. Bakaram Martizelev, I think he is a Russian guy, if I'm not mistaken. I hear he's a puncher. I got to check out his box rec and see what he's actually done. But I think Jermell should go ahead and take this tune-up fight, take this mandatory fight, get himself back acclimated to 154 pounds, bring back that old Jermell that we know and love at 154, doing the hard work at, becoming undisputed in that weight class. I know he has the fire in his belly. I know it's in there, but it didn't show up for the fight with Canelo Alvarez, but it's still there. I think he's still a good fighter. I think he was just overwhelmed by the moment. I think he was shell-shocked by the power, and he decided to go into defensive mode. He just wanted to survive and get the check. He didn't want to get knocked out. He didn't want him being knocked out by Canelo Alvarez, I would say, overshadowing his career, what he's done before that fight. So that's all I got to talk about, guys. I think this is probably what's going to happen next. We'll wait and see. Things change in boxing from day to day, and nothing's set in stone. But I think if he's not able to get the Canelo fight, Terence Crawford should go ahead and face the winner of Tim Tszyu and Brian Mendoza, and then set his eyes on Jermell Charlo. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think. What do you think should be next for Terence Crawford after the Errol Spence Jr. rematch, of course? Do you think he should still gun for Canelo Alvarez, or do you think he should fight Tim Tszyu or Brian Mendoza, whoever wins that fight? You guys let me know how you feel about that in the comment section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.